All right. Right now on Memphis Morning News, we're joined by immigration attorney this morning, Eric Cedillo, joining us this morning. Good morning, Eric. How are you? Thanks for joining us on Memphis Morning News.
Good morning. Doing great. Thank you for having me.
All right, before we talk about this sanctuary city ban, I wonder if you could take about 30 seconds and give people kind of a 101 to exactly when we hear the term sanctuary city, and we hear it all the time, what does that mean?
That's a very good question. I think lots of people have different definitions for what it's all about. I think here in the state of Texas, the governor had issue with the honoring of what are called ICE detainers. ICE sends a request to a local jail, says hold this person for a period of time so we can go pick them up because we believe they might be deportable. Some of the sheriffs, it's a totally voluntary program, and it's one in which some sheriffs say, well, we're not going to do that, or we're only going to do it with serious crimes. And we had a sheriff out in Austin who said we were only going to honor those that had been arrested and charged with serious felonies. And I don't think the governor took that too well, so that is kind of what promoted or prompted. He actually filed a lawsuit yesterday, a declaratory judgment, trying to basically get a court to tell him, what was going to be constitutional or not.
All right. Hey, Eric, I have a question about the culture in Texas and regarding immigration. Not everybody, yes, I know by definition, folks that are here are illegally are breaking the law. But people that are victims of crimes that are here, not necessarily legally, with this law, wouldn't this make this very difficult or scary for somebody who has been the victim of even a violent crime to fear not even reporting this for fear of getting in trouble themselves?
Oh, absolutely. We've had just about every sheriff from every major city here in Texas speak out against SB 4. So it's going to make our communities actually unsafe. You're going to have a lot of people who are going to be afraid to talk to authorities, be afraid of the local police, certainly witnesses to crimes, victims of crimes. And we're kind of seeing it statistically out in Houston, lots of a lack of reporting of crimes within the Hispanic community. So it's a really scary thing. And in all honesty, the state of Texas was honoring these ICE detainers at over a 90% clip, much higher than any other state in the union. So it wasn't really a necessary bill for a lot of people in terms of looking at it, and unfortunately I think it's going to have some really negative consequences for a whole lot of folks.
And to piggyback what you had just said regarding the culture of fear to be able to report this, right. Now it's my understanding, and I've read most of this, now, the governor does put an exemption in there that if you are reporting a crime, then you are exempt from this, but that doesn't necessarily mean all of a sudden somebody's going to say, well, in that case, then I'm going to step forward, right?
Yeah, that's certainly an amendment. It's certainly something that you would have to look for in the bill. The practice itself, however, is basically if you meet with authorities, there was an amendment which was included that allows for anyone who's been detained. So that can be any situation. You're pulled over on the side of the road. Any detention allows for local law enforcement to ask you your status. That in and of itself basically tells a whole lot of people within our community that, hey, if the police pull you over, there's a very good possibility that you can be deported. So, adding that little portion of it doesn't do much to quell the fears of a whole lot of folks in our community.
Hey, I know we only have about 30 seconds, but what does the Facebook Live aspect of this mean to anything? Nothing? Something? I mean, the fact that they did it at an odd time and that it was broadcast live, does that make any difference legally at all, or is that something you look at moving forward?
But we kind of see what happened. He did it on a Sunday evening, and they actually filed a lawsuit. The state of Texas filed a lawsuit, including Austin, naming that sheriff out in Austin, specifically including MALDIF, the Mexican American Legal Defense and Education Fund, to get, I think, the upper hand in terms of framing the issues. So they actually filed a lawsuit against them because they expected lawsuits against the state of Texas. So I think that's the timing of the rollout on the Sunday. It was done for that purpose.
All right, Eric, thanks so much for joining us on Memphis Morning News. I hope you won't be a stranger here. Appreciate you for joining us.